Hi, I'm Ivonne.
And I'm Carlos.
And this is Ivonneplusone. Today we're going to do our second episode. I'm very excited and a little nervous at the same time. I don't know why, but I am. And we are going to be exploring the beautiful Alaska. Is there anything that you like about Alaska?
I've never been there, so no.
No? I never been there either, but I always love seeing those little cruise and seeing like the mountains with the snow and the blue water, the polar bears. They're gorgeous. I
don't know if I would like a cruise where it's just white and the glaciers everywhere. Titanic feel vibes.
Exactly.
Yeah, that's kind of scary in and of itself.
Yeah. Did you know, every time I like looking for stuff, I kind of find curious things. And did you know that Alaska is the only state in the United States that all the letters of the alphabet is in one row of the keyboard?
What?
Like all the letters of the name.
Oh, okay, of the name.
Is in one row of the keyboard.
Interesting. I wonder if that was on purpose.
Who knows? I actually don't know where the name
Alaska
there wasn't
a keyboard when they got named, so
exactly.
That's impossible.
Oops.
Interesting.
But it is interesting, and it is, I don't know, I thought it was curious. And the other thing that I was curious, and I kind of knew, but I forgot, is that in Alaska, there's part of the summer where the sun doesn't set. So it's sunny all day and all night.
Yeah, throughout the year.
Not throughout the year. It's certain months in the summer. It's like from May to August.
Okay.
And they call it the midnight sun.
Okay, that's cool.
I can do that, like, because like when you go to sleep, you just put like a dark curtain and you go to sleep, and that's not a big deal. But in the winter, it's the other way around. It's
that as well.
Nighttime, 24 hours, and I cannot deal with that. Like, just imagine, like, you wake up, it's dark. You're in the middle of the day, it's dark. You go to sleep, it's dark for a couple months.
Yeah, you'll get depressed, I guess.
I would, 100%. I mean, I am the kind of person that if I feel sad, I go outside and get some sun and I feel better. So just imagine a couple months of this. And the other thing that I found interesting about Alaska is that about 75% of Alaska is not reachable by roads. You either have to take an airplane or a snowmobile.
How much?
75%.
Wow.
That's including the capital of Alaska. You cannot go to the capital unless you take a plane.
That's weird. That's scary too. You're stuck there.
Uh-huh. Yep.
Well, I guess that's like Hawaii, but Hawaii is just different.
I guess.
I'd rather be stuck on Hawaii than on Alaska, let's just say.
There's more... Well, I don't know, because if you think about it, if there's some like kind of disaster, you can still try to walk. I mean, you're probably going to die, but you can still try to walk to the forest and the snow. But in Hawaii, you're stuck.
Completely.
Well, actually, if you were in that part, like in the capital, it's just water. You're probably freeze to death. I don't know how it's in summer, how cold the water is in summer. Anyhow, I thought those were interesting, but let's talk about the legends of Alaska and the spooky stories from there. And another thing is, did you know that there's an area in Alaska that is called the Alaska Triangle, just like the Bermuda Triangle?
No.
Apparently, there is a lot of like airplane crashes and a lot of disappearance, more like twice than anywhere else. And some people just blame that just because of the terrain. Like, it is a lot of wilderness and
planes
and airplanes too. But there's a lot of theories about that triangle. And that triangle, it goes from, let me see, I wrote it down. It's in between the cities of Anchorage, Juneau, and Barrow. So that's like the 3 points of the triangle. And there's a lot of like forests, like I said, a lot of snow, tall mountains.
What kind of things disappear there?
So there's been a lot of plane crash, and some of them, they don't even find the planes. One of them was like a politician, And they look and they never found it. But there's a lot of theories of why that happens in that region. And the first one is the legend of the shape-shifting Kushtaka. I hope I pronounced that right.
Shape-shifting, okay.
Okay. It says here the Kushtaka, also known as the land otter people, are mythical creatures in the folklore of the Tlingit and Tsimshian Native American tribe of South Alaska. Okay. So they say they are shapeshifters. They can appear either as a human or otters. In the otter form, they say to be very big and powerful, very elusive, and they move swiftly throughout the land and or water. In the human form, they look like humans, but they have like otter characteristics like webbed fingers and toes. Now, the Kushtaka, I hope I'm saying that right. They say they either have the power to help people or kill people, like or be mean or malevolous. They say that they mimic the cries of distress and draw people to the water and kill them. Or sometimes if somebody is lost, but the person who is lost is being good to nature, like respectful to nature, they will help them go to safety.
How would they know?
I don't know. They're supposed to be
have
you
quiz.
been good? Have you been good to the tree today? No, well, I don't know. I'm assume they're like spying on you, sneaking, or like kind of looking through the trees.
Just passing through, though. I don't know.
Well, I'm assuming if you're lost, you've been there for a while.
Oh, okay. So don't poop on the tree or else you're dead.
Well, you're fertilizing it. I'm just kidding. I don't know.
It's tricky.
It is tricky.
To get put into the right category of life or death.
Mm-hmm. The other theory is that Kushtaka, the other people will kind of try to turn you into one of them.
Mm-hmm. Okay. So when they're otters, you said that they're huge. Are they like big otter, like human-sized otters, or they're just
yeah?
baby
That's
little?
what like the pictures on the Google. That's kind of look like a human-sized otter.
Oh, okay, that would scare.
That would be exactly. That would be very intimidating. Now the other theory is that there's like energy vortexes in Alaska, which
Vortexes.
It's kind of like. I'm assuming this has like a little truth to it. They say there's a lot of energies, and that kind of energy in there can mess up with the humans' emotions. They say they can cause disorientation and hallucinations, and they can like mess up the magnets. So like if you're trying to have a compass to kind of guide yourself through it, it kind of gets messed up and you can get lost even more.
So it's like a general thing. It's not somebody attacking you, but it's just some magnetism that makes the system stop working and then you crash.
Something somehow. Like that.
Like, why do you disappear?
That's the thing. But some people say that those vortices kind of create a portal to like other dimensions.
That reminds me of the Stephen King movies. I haven't seen one in a long time, but I remember one where there was one where they ended up in a different dimension.
Yeah. And the last one, well, not there's more, but the last one that I wrote about, of course, is that there are UFOs in that area.
Okay.
And there actually was a very well-documented UFO sighting of the flight Japan Airline Flight 1628 in November 17, 1986. So the flight crew said that they originally saw like two lights on the side of the airplane, and at the beginning they didn't know what they were just following them and following the pattern, and they contacted the what's the name
flight control,
the flight control, to say, hey, is there anybody around us, because we're seeing these two flights, and they say no, there's nobody in the radar showing that it's around you. Later on, after those two lights disappear, a bigger one was seen. They actually saw the shape of the airplane, and it was
airplane or UFO?
The UFO, well, whatever it was, they never found out what it was. It was massive, silvery, and this shape craft that they saw. And they follow them for quite a while, and then they disappear.
They followed the airplane?
Object followed the airplane for a while, and then they disappear. So we don't know, there's always the speculation that maybe it was experimental military aircraft that they kind of hush and they don't want to say anything. Or if there was something unknown, and we don't know. But in Alaska, if you search, a lot of people say that they see weird lights, and they always assume that maybe there is some kind of UFOs around there. Which I think is crazy. I know you like seeing documentaries about UFOs. Is there anything that stand out to you?
I can't think of anything right now, but I find it interesting that UFOs kind of tend to be in the same place all the time. That's kind of weird. Like if it was a military, I guess if there's a military base around there, then yeah, you'll just see them there over and over. So yeah, in that sense, it makes sense. But why would they follow an airplane? Like, let's say you're military, why would you follow an airplane and cause all that distress unless like it's a social experiment, like a psychological experiment for the pilots? And then that's a whole different thing. But they could do that in major cities. They wouldn't need to do it in Alaska.
Yeah.
So I was.
Or maybe they want to be, since there's less population and there's more dense.
But why do they care? I mean, obviously it's going to make the news. It's still like there's evidence, like I guess.
And the other thing is that some people say that the pilot of this aircraft, he was very into UFOs. So some people and the co-pilots never say too much about the experience. Mostly was the pilot. So that's the possibility that it was all made up. But
you should have started with that. You just ruined the whole story.
But it was a huge investigation about it by the Air Force. So that's what is well documented. So this is some of the factors that they think why people in aircrafts get lost in that Alaska Triangle. I didn't know. I mean, of course I knew about the Bermuda Triangle, but I didn't know there was one in Alaska.
That's pretty cool.
Did you?
No, never heard of it.
Yeah. And of course, after we go through all this, we're going to go to the lake called Iliamna, where there's said to be, first of all, the Lake Iliamna is a freshwater lake situated in the southern part of Alaska. And legend has it that there's a mysterious creature kind of in the water called the Iliamna Lake Monster, or the nickname the Ili.
Okay.
There's a lot of accounts, like from way back. The earliest account of this creature came from the native Stingy people, Native Americans. They refer to it as the Gonascadet. According to their stories, the Gonascadet is a massive aquatic being with features reminiscent of a wolf head and tail combined with the scaled body of an orca. That it's very hard to picture that in my head. So the head of a wolf, I'm assuming without the hair.
A dragon?
Yeah, I can see that.
What scaled body of an orca? I didn't even know orcas
with
were
the
scaled.
sleek body of an orca.
Oh, okay.
So kind of like, it's kind of, I can see it's more like a dragon now.
Like those dragons that you see, those Chinese dragons where they have like a long tail and...
Yeah.
What was it? Shang-Chi?
Yes.
The guy, he lived in the water, didn't he?
The dragon, yeah.
One of them did.
The one at the end, the one that helped him, yes, he did.
Yeah.
Then another indigenous group, the Ali.
That's fine. Well, that in and of itself is kind of interesting because that's a typical Chinese rendition of the dragon thing, or like a monster, right? Mm-hmm. So how could that be so similar to... There's like a pattern, I guess you could say. Mm-hmm. It's like a similar idea that you see in another part of the world. Which
exactly, in another part of the world.
Yeah, it makes no sense. Like that there be such similarities.
That's interesting. So another indigenous group, the Aleut, also have the tales about a creature they call the Jik-Ik-Nak, which they describe as a fish-like entity with monstrous characteristics. These creatures are said to move in groups, targeting canoes and warriors, and posing a threat that can result in harm or even fatalities. So both of these tribes are saying that they seen these creatures in that lake. Then later on, like as of today, well, not today, but more like in the 70s and 80s, there's other people who seen creatures and
Did they get attacked as well, or?
No, not really. Well, I'll let you know. Today, the description of the Iliamna monster is still around, right? It's described as an enormous fish-like creature believed to be anything between 10 to 30 feet in length. The creature's color is anything between aluminium or silver hue to a dark brown shade. It possesses a distinctive broad and blonde head with a tapered body. Now, this monster has been so known in history that even TV shows have gone to try to find it. A TV show from Animal Planet called River Monsters did an episode on that lake. Now, this was like in the 70s and the 80s, and they say that these monsters, people still kind of see something. They don't know, they don't being attacked, but they say sometimes, like, you know, like if you're in the ocean, like in a dolphin or something kind of swim up, it might touch your canoe or something like that and kind of tip you over. That happens sometimes.
I just saw a video on Twitter that was this guy was on a canoe. I think he was fishing, and then huge two whales were like swimming around him, and he was stressed out about it, like, because they were big, like they were almost, I mean, they're huge whales. But yeah, that would be stressful.
Yeah, so they think that maybe, well, the theory is this might be like a fish that we don't know what it is, or a fish, a white sturgeon, which they are known to live like over 100 years, and they are very big, and they can be up to 20 feet long. And they usually stay at the bottom of the lake.
What's a sturgeon again?
It's a fish, but a huge fish.
Okay.
They say they usually stay at the bottom of the lake. They live in fresh water, but every now and then they go to the surface. So maybe that's why there's been so sporadic sightings. But they can confirm that it is.
Okay. So why do they see it look like a lion? Maybe they just add the lion in their head.
Maybe. Well, this was like the legends from a long time ago. The more recent ones, they just say fish. It's more like a humongous fish.
Okay. I mean, how deep do those lakes have to be to...
It's very deep. Oh, shoot. I forgot to write it, but it is very deep.
Oh, okay.
It's huge. It is one of the largest lakes in Alaska. And that's our little fellow from the Iliamna Lake. And then we're going to go talk about our spooky friends. If you ever go to Alaska, there's a saloon, which is today is a restaurant called the Red Onion Saloon. It was a bar and a brothel situated in Skyway, Alaska.
A brothel?
It was a brothel.
What's a brothel?
A lady of the night place in the 1800s.
Okay.
It opens its door in 1898 during the Klondike Golden Rush. So there were, in this part of Alaska, a lot of men were passing through to go collect gold.
Where?
It wasn't in the I've never seen
Klondike?
Yeah, in Klondike.
I remember there's nothing like a Klondike bar. It was like a
nugget?
No, it was like an ice cream sandwich, if I remember correctly. It was when I was little, and the commercials were here. And it was like basically imagine 2 layers ice cream sandwich with chocolate on the outside. I remember it was minty as well.
Oh.
And it's a very famous commercial. That's not, when you said Klondike, that's the only
Is that how
reference.
You say Klondike?
Klondike bar, yeah.
Well, the Klondike Gold Rush in the late 1800s, early 1900s. So people will stop in this city in Alaska to go through the destination. So there was a lot of men. So they created this bar in brothel to entertain this.
Brothel.
There you go.
Brothel.
It's my Spanglish accents and creation. So once that they built this salon, they decided, hey, let's move a little closer to the railroad, so we are like
they're capturing
more
the people,
clientele.
yeah.
So what they did is they basically pick up the house and put it in 4 logs and pushed it with the help of a horse.
This is the second time you said that people move their houses. I didn't even know
it's
they
so
did that.
crazy to me.
They don't even do that now. That's weird.
That is so crazy to me. But a lot of older houses, they do that. So they pick up the house, they pushed it with the help of a horse, and they put it in the new destination. And when they got there and they went inside, they realized that the back part of the store, the saloon, was in the front side of the street.
And they didn't want that.
And
they accidentally did it.
They accidentally did it. So instead of just picking it up again and just like turning it around, they just got the whole front of the saloon and the back, and they just switched it and hammered it together. And as of today, because this house still exists, if you go there, you can see the line where it was cut up and stepped together.
That's cool.
It is very cool.
Did they say what was the distance that they had to move it?
About 4 blocks.
Oh, okay, not that much.
Not that much.
I mean, that's still probably a lot for those times because they didn't have machinery.
And it was just 4 men and a horse.
Oh, wow. That is...
They just put it on top of 4, like, I don't know how many logs, and they just roll it. Like
just keep putting a new log in front, I guess.
I'm assuming, yeah. That's what I picture. So this was at 2 floors. The first floor was the bar, and the second floor was where the brothel.
The brothel.
The brothel.
I don't know why you put the accent on the E. The brothel.
I don't know either. Where the brothel was. So it had 10 rooms, one for each one of the ladies that worked there. And the way that they make it work was like in the bar there was 10 dolls with characteristic of the ladies that were working upstairs. Like if you had blue eyes, the doll will have blue eyes, the same color of your hair, kind of dress up of how you were dressing up. And they were standing up in the bar. If somebody wanted your services, they will lay it down flat in the bar, and they will know that person wasn't available. So that was a system, I guess, to keep track of who was available and who was not.
A creepy system.
It was a creepy system. And today, those dolls are still there. You can see them.
Wow.
They are kind of spooky.
Did they look like the girls that they were representing? Or no?
I don't know.
You just had to know the doll matched the girl, I guess.
Yeah, I guess it was more like the characteristics, like the color of the hair, the dress. Now, as of today, the Red Onion Saloon is rumored to have 3 little ghosts, 2 ladies and 1 man. The first lady is believed to be Diamond Lead, a former madame who appears to have a spot for male visitors. She is being known to give unsuspecting guests a tap of the leg or whisper in their ears. Apparently, she only likes men.
Okay.
While the other lady is said to be Lydia. Once a lady of the night, she made her presence known by leaving the fragrance of her perfume. Some people have actually seen her, like the silhouette or like a transparent lady in between the rooms. And some pictures had even some people have taken pictures and seen a silhouette of a female in the pictures.
That's pretty cool.
Mm-hmm. And one time, there was like a commotion in the second floor, and they called the police. And when the police went there, they saw a lady running from one room to another. And when they went to the room was empty.
Wow.
That's creepy. Now, the male ghost is the people who work there refer to him as John. He caused disturbances for the staff and the guests. His presence is often accompanied by a bad body odor, and he has been known to attempt to push people down the stairs.
So he's a bad guy.
Yeah. Some people say that when they are changing, like the staff member, when they're changing clothes, somebody opens and closes the door and they blame it on this ghost. They believe that John used to be a bouncer in the
security guard,
like a security guard, that he was stabbed and killed there.
Mm.
So if today you want to go to if you want to go visit the Red Onion Saloon, you can go. It's open. It's a restaurant in the first floor, and in the second floor, it looks exactly like it used to look in the 1800s when it opened, and it's a museum. And you can take a tour, and they will go around and show you. I actually, if you go online, there's like somebody kind of filmed the tour. It's pretty cool.
That's pretty cool.
Like I said, you can see the lines where they cut the house, the front and the back, and when they switched it and how the rooms used to look and everything.
It's what is it? A hotel?
It's a restaurant.
Oh, okay.
It's a restaurant and a museum.
Okay.
Yeah. And since we are in the theme of ghosts, we are actually going to go talk about a haunted abandoned orphanage. That, for some reason, it creeps me more when it's abandoned. First of all, because it's like nobody's there, and also orphanage. Like little kids freak me out just thinking about having a ghost kid.
I wonder if it's the same one that I read about. The one you're going to talk about.
I don't know.
Is that the one where they found? I don't want to say.
Well, just let me know after I tell you about this. So this orphanage, it wasn't called an orphanage. It was called the Jesse Lee Home for Children. It was located in Seward, Alaska, and it opened the doors in 1926. It served as a refugee for children who either has lost their parents or the parents couldn't take care of him. In this time of, in this era, there was a lot of people who died from the Spanish flu. But there is also a lot of people who had tuberculosis and they had to be like isolated.
Okay.
So all these kids, some records show that it's more than 120 kids at a time were living in this house. Now, for what I read, all these kids were treated very well. And in fact, one of the kids that lived there was Benny Benson, who in 1927 entered a contest created by the state, where people submitted a design for the state flag, and he won. And the flag, the Alaska flag, is his design. And it's still the same one from 1927.
Okay. By the way, I just remembered that my story was from Canada. It wasn't from Alaska. I just thought of Canada because snowy. It's in the area.
What did you hear about that?
I don't know. I don't remember exactly, but it wasn't good. So you said these were treated well. The other one was. They found a bunch of remains, like hundreds of remains or something like that.
No, that's
it was supposed to be an orphanage, but they did other things.
That was what I pointed out, that they were treated well, because I've seen a lot of orphanage from like a long time ago where kids were not treated well, and that is so sad, and a lot of them are haunted because of that.
Okay.
In this one, in 1964, there was a massive earthquake known as the Great Alaska Earthquake. It was a 9.2 magnitude, and it stands as the most potent earthquake in America. It created a tsunami, which resulted in a lot of people dying and a lot of damage, and over 100 people died. Some accounts say some of the kids from the home died, and other people say that's not true. So we don't know. But it's true that more than 100 people died in general due to the earthquake and tsunami.
Okay.
So there was so much
damage. That was that place was near where there was a tsunami. Yeah. The tsunami affected that orphanage.
I don't know if the tsunami itself. I don't know if it was a combination of both, or just the earthquake, or the tsunami.
Yeah, that's what I mean. The tsunami earthquake.
Sure. But it did affect the house to the point where they couldn't live there anymore, and they just moved to a new location in Anchorage. So, and they lived there, the abandoned structure where it was, because they had to basically demolish it and rebuild a lot of part of it because it was unlivable.
Okay. So
it stayed empty for decades, but people will come and see the ruins. So many people were used to go there that the state had to build like a fence around it so people wouldn't get inside. But the people who have visited, they said that they can hear little kids laughing and giggling, that they can hear somebody like jumping the rope or playing ball, or little stuff running, like little footsteps. or see like little shadows on the windows. And nobody know if that's because kids who die want to come back to a place where they were happy, or why it's the reason that they are there. And it's mostly children. It's not like, because I thought, oh, maybe in the earthquake a lot of people die and they're like staying in there, but it's just children that go to this home, this abandoned home, which is interesting to me. So all these stories have earned the Jesse Lee home as one of Alaska's most haunted destinations.
Wow.
However, in 2020, they decided to demolish it.
Oh.
And they did. And they're going to build a park. They haven't done it yet, but they're going to build a park and a memorial for that home. Because a lot of people were against it being demolished.
Mm.
So who knows? Maybe, and who knows if they do a memorial, will they still be seeing this ghost or imprint of children?
Well, yeah, that's what I was thinking. What's really going on there? Is it that, it's like energy that it's kind of repeating itself there? Or I never understood the whole idea of ghosts in general, like not understood, but fleshed it out, I guess. Is it, and entities that were existed and that they continue to exist there, or is that sort of like an echo, like a memory that just kind of?
That's an interesting point.
But I guess for those, I guess the other ones where you're getting pushed, trying to get like that other guy who was pushing you down the stairs, then definitely that's not an echo, because it's like it's affecting a new thing. But if you just hear stuff, then
without actually,
so maybe this multifaceted. There's things that are
more than
happening, like like an entity that continues to be there, or versus something that's like an echo of something that was there. That's, I don't know.
I never thought about it that way, but yeah, it makes sense. Well, now I'm going to tell you a couple of stories from Reddit and other websites. So this one is called, Am I Remembering an Abduction? I've been having the nightmare for a while. It doesn't happen all the time, but when it does, it's usually the same thing every time. I'm a little kid and I'm in my bed laying down in bed. The curtains are drawn and I can see a bright light shining through them. Something red and blue wants to. Sometimes red and blue wants to, sorry. Then, when I sit up, I can see shadows of people running back and forth and trying to look through the window. I hide, but I can hear people talking. When I run out of my room, I can see people coming in the patio and into the house, and I'm always too scared to look at them. I run down the hallway to the bathroom to hide, and then I wake up. I can't explain it. It's hard for me to push myself to wake up so I can really get out of it. It's always so vivid and it feels so real. What the hell is going on? It says, Eddie, I only had one incident of lost time that I can remember, around the age I remember being when the nightmare started. I went to sleep in my bedroom and woke up in my mom's bedroom with no explanation. I don't remember getting up and walking to her room. So then she updated it. Okay. Commenter suggested I ask my mom what happened on the night that I remember losing time, so I did. I thought she would tell me I've been reading too many scary stories or that she didn't remember, but she gave me some decent information. It happened when I was 6. She remembered walking up and seeing me next to the side of her bed. She said I was talking, saying, "Nobody listens to me." Then I got into bed, and I asked her to leave her lamp and TV on before I went to sleep. Then she said that soon after is when I started to have the explicit nightmares about aliens and monsters kidnapping me through the bedroom window, and when I started getting really deep into TV shows about the paranormal. She doesn't remember the lights, but she also doesn't remember me opening her door and walking in. From then on, for a little while, I would wake up in the middle of the night and go to her bedroom and ask to sleep with her because I was scared. I haven't been able to sleep with the lights off since then. Again, I don't remember any of this. My mom also said that shortly before the incident of lost time, I started seeing a shadow figure in the house. I called him Stephen, and for some reason I was really adamant that it was spelled with a PH and not a V. My mom thought it was just an imaginary friend. Then she saw the shadow of a man standing over me while I was sleeping, who disappeared into thin air when she turned the lights on. 6 years ago, my mom found out that there was a family in the neighborhood before they moved in, whose sons were drafted to the Vietnam War. Only one came home, Stephen. In 1978, he took his own life on the same day I will be born 20 years later. Ooh, that gave me the chills. I don't know if the two things are related, but that was the timeline of events my mom helped me piece together. It still doesn't explain what happened completely, but at least someone remembers something. My mom says she tried to see if she could remember more and tell me if she did. What do you think?
I like those stories a lot.
Do you think she actually had an encounter with some UFOs and
Yes.
that's why you...
Only because I'm a fan of, what's her name? The author, Dolores Cannon. Dolores Cannon.
It's a Cannon? Yeah.
Yeah. And, I've read a lot of her books, and literally like 50% of it, especially on some of her books, are focused on the UFOs stuff and encounters, even like imaginary stuff that she feels like they were. I mean, she was a psychiatrist or whatever. I don't know.
Wasn't she a medium?
No. All she did was put you under like what do you call it when they snap? Hypnosis. She was a hypnotherapist, yeah. And then what she did was put you under hypnosis, and then you would relive go back through what it was. But she would go back into lives, and then there was a bunch of those encounters that she discovered.
Oh my goodness! I was looking yesterday about a movie called The Fourth Kind.
Yeah, the Encounter with the Fourth Kind or something like that.
Something like that. I remember that. It's a movie based on a real life event, and it was about a lady who, a therapist who was putting people into hypnosis, and then people would have all this crazy, like, not just like telling them, but like actually reliving the experiences. Mm-hmm. Is that the same? I wonder if it's the same based on her.
It depends, because I think that movie was kind of old, but because I think she became famous and popular in the 80s. I don't know if that movie was before the 80s or around there.
I don't know either.
Could be about her.
I want to take a look at that, because it looks creepy, but it looks very interesting at the same time.
There was times where I was reading that book at night and I was like scared.
Yvonne.
Well, not really, but I was just literally like, okay. Am I going to get abducted tonight? Kind of scared. Like, it's not like anything you can defend against. You're just like, can I get abducted right here or whatever? Yeah,
that is creepy. I want to see that movie now, but I don't know. Okay. So.
And supposedly all her stuff was real. Like, it's not science fiction. Like, she never presented it. I mean, in theory, like, some people try to theorize that none of the like people under hypnosis it was just all imagination. Mm-hmm. But she presented it as if they were real. Like, it wasn't like she said she made up that thing or she suggested the people under hypnosis to. It was just her transcribing and putting it into words and making it more. What do you call it?
Easy to interpret and read.
Well, no, not, yeah, making it interesting. Like, she just had, like, basically her books were just different stories of people under hypnosis. Okay. That's her whole thing.
Like her interpretation, or how I writing a story about what happened.
But she would say that she wasn't doing fiction. Like, she was not, because, somebody can do all that and then just do fiction. Yeah. But she never admitted to it or thought or said it. So supposedly real people. And she even created a technique so other people can do the technique of putting people under for that purpose. Oh. So anyway,
so this next story is also from Reddit. It says, the most potent of paranormal experiences I ever had. The ghost that choked me. I've always been open to the idea of the supernatural and the things I can understand. I think it's
Proportional?
preposterous.
Preposterous.
How do you say it?
Preposterous.
To assume we know everything about what we can and can't see. Weird stuff has happened in my childhood home for as long as I can remember. That being said, I am reticent to call myself sensitive to the spirits because it gives me the same energy as calling oneself an empath. The house itself is fairly benign. It's less than 20 years old and is located in a suburb of Anchorage, Alaska. It does not look like the type of place that will be haunted, at least from the outside. If you went through every home on my neighborhood, you find that each house is one of 3 or 4 different layouts. If you've been to one person's house in my neighborhood, you've been to most of them. My house is the outlier as it was designed and built by a man whose living was made by building houses, living in it for a bit, and then selling them. To my understanding, that's why my house is so stinking bizarre. Lots of weird angles in the ceiling and they never catch light. Sharp turns in hallways that make nighttime bathroom missions terrifying. It's just a weird feeling house. I grew up performing in a haunted theater with similar weird architecture, and its strange angles are one of the reasons why it's said to be haunted. The flow of energy is messed up. I think the same is true of my childhood home. I can start with a plethora of weird things from when I was a child. A lot of feeling watched while I play with my toys, feeling chased up the stairs during the night, my door rattling sporadically after the household had gone to bed. One time, when I was 12, I was toweling off after taking a bath upstairs. The only other people in the house were my 2 siblings who were watching TV downstairs. I was thinking to myself, as I am off to do, when a disembodied woman's voice screamed, "Shut up!" Shut up. That's scary. You imagine you're being by yourself and you hear a voice of nobody that you know. Like in the middle of, I would like run naked downstairs.
Why naked though?
Well, because he was naked. He was like drying himself after a shower. Would you even think about getting dressed? I would just like run.
I don't know.
Oh, you still have the towel. You can cover yourself a little bit. When I was 8, my family was out of state visiting relative. For whatever reason, our good friend church pastor stopped by our house. Our pastor looked through the half-moon window on our front door and saw a dark, wispy figure descending the stairs. It was only after he saw this that he remembered that we weren't home. He later told my folks about it in church, and they always took it seriously. They are the type of people that don't humor the occult. Not because they don't believe it, but because they believe it shouldn't be trifled with. Everything I mentioned can be batted away with logic, and I let that happen for the most part. As much as I appreciate the idea of the paranormal, I'm not eager to accept that something unnatural is in my safe place. But there's one instance I haven't been able to shake off. When I was 15 years old, I was on my high school debate team. It ate up all of my free time during the weekends and left me exhausted. Around 5 p.m. on Sunday, my mom brought me home from a tournament, and naturally, I was very, very, very sleepy. I dropped upstairs to my sister's and I's bedroom and passed out. I didn't take off my blazer, remove my makeup, or pull down the blinds. All of those things would have taken way too much effort, so I just passed off. Sometime in my nap, I felt my mom's presence in my room. She pulled down the blinds and sat on my bed. In my half-awake state, I couldn't register the shift in light as the blind lowered and felt the weight of her body on the bed. She stroked my hair, and for some reason I thought she was going to ask me to do the dishes. Like the sour little teenager I was, I lightly kicked her away and fell back to sleep. You did that? Like, I don't, just get out, Mom. That's just mean teenager thing. Then I woke up for real this time. I felt like a great, I felt like a great bitch for having treated my mom rudely when she was just checking in on me. So I went downstairs to apologize. I found my mom on her phone in the kitchen. I apologized, to which she responded with confusion. She hadn't checked in on me. We were the only two people in the house, so I was obviously unnerved. I would have woke it up to the dream, but my blinds had been lowered. Those were the type of blinds that would fall on their own. They wouldn't fall on their own. They were so freaking finicky that my sister and I left the race for the most part, so the details take it out of the dream world for me. So somebody did lower the blinds, but it wasn't her mom. Huh. I have never had an experience, thankfully, where at least consciously that I know of something having moved or touched or changed. I mean, there's things that sometimes I don't find them and later on I find them, but I didn't know where they were, so I don't know if they were always there and I just didn't find them. You know what I mean? Okay, similar instances kept occurring. A woman would sit on my bed and stroke my hair. I never saw her. I just knew it was a woman, someone with maternal energy. Most of the time, it was after school, and it had to be when my sister wasn't in the house. I was freaked out when I would fully wake up and think about it. But in the moment, my nerves were soothed. One night, my sister was in a friend's house for a sleepover. The same thing happened. The woman sat on my bed and stroked my hair, but something about the instant set me off. I had the stark realization that whoever this was wasn't my parents, siblings, or any remotely safe. I burst out of the bed and ran to my door. I thought, if I can get to my parents in the room next door, I'll be okay. But as soon as I grabbed the door handle, she grabbed my neck, pulled me to bed, and I blacked out. Oh my God. That is creepy. So it went from like gentle touching, oh, go to sleep, little peaceful, to go crazy, like go back to bed. Oh, that gave me the willies, the chilies. I woke up later the next morning as if I had blinked and was in a different time. It never happened again. Thank goodness. I still experience strange paranormal occurrences, but nothing like that. I sometimes feel this woman with me, and I know she's been around since I was a kid. I oftentimes wake up choking in the middle of the night, and I have the premonition that I'll one day die of asphyxiation. This could be in due part to my family history of lung cancer. I also have a sleep paralysis scenario where a woman climbs on me and tries to smother me. Between those things and the only time I experience paranormal violence being a strangling motion, I feel like there's something linked to my lungs. Anyway, I would love to hear your thoughts. I included a lot of information, so if it feels jumbled, I apologize. I wanted to include as much information that I thought might be pertinent. So if someone can help me connect these threads, I appreciate it. What are your thoughts? What do you think about it?
I've had an experience where I think it's fairly common where you feel like you're being held down. It's fairly common. Yeah, I think it's fairly common because I looked it up at the time. But yeah, I remember a couple years back. Well, what's funny is really reading those Dolores Cannon books. So maybe it's just a result of thinking about that kind of stuff or
Yes,
reading about it or hearing about it. So yeah, it could be, but a lot of people get it. So why do a lot of people get it? Is everybody thinking about it, reading about it? Or it's a regular thing, like something is affecting you? And
for what I understand, sleep paralysis is like the state where you are between awake and asleep, and your body can like not process either side, so you're like paralyzed in that moment. But it's like your brain is conscious, and it's like, why can I not move and all that, but your body's still kind of sleepy. And like some people see things, or like I have an episode like that when I was a little kid in my house, who had a lot of crazy things happening, where I open my eyes and I see this dark figure in the corner of my room, like, and I was freaking out. Like my heart was racing like crazy, and I couldn't move. All I can move was my eyes, like,
yeah.
And that was it. And I just like closed in and like pray, or like, please let me go and all that. And I felt like eternity to me. I don't know how long it was. Eventually, I was left free, and I don't remember what I did after. I probably just went out of my room, but it is very freaky at that moment.
Yeah.
So it could be something like that. I don't remember feeling like I couldn't breathe. I just remember like somebody was holding me down.
Some people might go into a panic mode and they just feel like can't breathe, because that happens even when you're awake. You have gone to some anxiety attack, and then people say, I haven't been in one, but people say they can't breathe. So
yeah, or they hyperventilate.
Yeah.
Yeah, that is, yeah, it could be. This one is submitted by Preston. No, from...
Not YouTuber Preston.
No, YouTuber Preston, or at least not that I know of. It says, I live in St. Michael, Alaska. One day, my daughter, Christine, was home with me. We were alone. Her brother and sister were playing outside. She was just playing with some toys in her room when she came to me, and she looked scared. I asked her what was wrong, why she looked scared. She was only 4 at the time. She told me she wanted to stay in the living room with me. I told her to go back to play in her room. She went back, but she kept looking at me as if she had something to say but did not know how. I went back to cooking and kept wondering why she looked like she was scared. She came out again, this time to get something to drink. I noticed a scratch on her left leg. How did you get that scratch on your leg? I asked. She looked at me and said, him did it. Oh, that gave me, oh my goodness, that gave me escalofrío. I was surprised that she said that, so I asked her, who is him? She went to the room she was playing in, and without going into the room, she pointed into the room and said the same thing. Him did it. I went to look into the room. There was no one there, but she kept telling him he did it. After that, I let her stay with me until her brother and sister came home. Oh my goodness. That, I don't know. That really...
How old was the girl?
She was 4 years old.
Ouch.
And she actually has like marking her legs. That is crazy. Ooh. One thing is kind of seeing or hearing stuff, but like when you physically have like a mark.
And kids don't have a need to lie about that.
Yeah. Well, they say the kids have like less like filters, and they can see more abnormal stuff than adults can. So, ooh. No. I hope she's okay. I don't know how old this is, but hopefully she will forget about it. Okay, this one is submitted by Kenny. I live in Elson Air Force Base in 1992 and 1993 on Delta Circle. My bedroom was in the basement along with my oldest sister and dad's computer room. One night, I woke up to see a woman in a blue nightgown standing in the doorway of my room staring at me. I did not know who this woman was, but I rolled over and I went back to sleep. This woman did not give me the creep feeling or created a sense of danger. About 4 years later, after moving back to Las Vegas, all friends of ours who lives in the same townhouse, but two doors down, came to visit us. While talking about Alaska, someone brought up the weird stuff that will happen in their house. I have never shared my story with my family, but the night we learned that we had all had experiences in the basement. My sister was brushing her teeth one night before bed when she heard footsteps coming down the stairs. Expecting it to be her mother, she looked into the hall and saw what she described as a beautiful woman in blue nightgown floating down the hall. She too said that she was not scared and calm feeling came over her. My father fell asleep one evening while on the computer. When he woke up, he said there was a woman standing in front of him with her face right next to him. Oh, he did get scared and ran upstairs. He and my mother were the only two who discussed what was going on. Our neighbors had numbers of other stories about objects being moved, voices, and unexplained noises. Something made me want to Google and see if anyone had similar experience while living in Elson, and clearly we were not alone. So just imagine, almost every member of the family had kind of the same experience with the same lady. I mean, it doesn't seem to me like it was the same day, but the same lady. And the two kids, it was like a peaceful experience, but the dad completely... Can you imagine waking up and seeing a face right here?
I mean, does that have to be negative, though?
Not necessarily.
Maybe she wanted a little goodnight kiss.
Oh. But I think that the reason that he freaked out...
So the dad is the military guy?
I'm assuming...
And he got scared? That's hilarious.
The mom. It could be the mom. I don't know.
Yeah, that's true.
But it was the adult. But it just... Also, the difference is like the kids were like, they saw it from afar. Where he, like, just waking up and seeing something like right in front of your face, that will creep you out no matter what. Like, that is something that you won't forget. Okay, so let's see. This one is called... this was submitted by somebody that called themselves by Creeped Out in Fairbank.
Okay.
I've been many years since it has happened. About 19 years to be exact. The house I'm referring to has several tenants since then and has been boarded up and vacant for about 8 years now. My husband's niece moved into a single-family home that sits on the corner lot near the downtown area. She invited me over to help her and her two boys settle into their new home. The first time I was there, I didn't feel comfortable, but chalk it up to the house being fairly empty of furniture and anything that will make it feel homey. I made a few visits there, usually for a small get-together. The feeling was still uneasy. It seemed no matter what room I was in, I just had a feeling I was being watched. It was an older house which needed much repair, so again, I chalked it up to just being a creepy old house. The last time I went there, the uncomfortable feeling was even more intense. It was so much it made the hair on the back of my hair stand up. Have you ever had someone sneak up behind you and look over your shoulders? You know how no matter how quiet they are, you can feel them there? Well, that's the feeling I had, except I felt like they were leaning right up on my back. Ooh, do you imagine feeling like something and there's nothing? My friend and I were playing cards on her dining room table. I had the feeling of someone standing behind me. I kept looking behind me, maybe thinking it was one of my kids at first. I thought maybe they were trying to give their mom a hint to what cards I was holding. Oh, one of the friend kids. My friend saw that I kept turning around and asked me why. I say, no reason, just listening for the baby. I had my infant daughter with me. She was sleeping in the next room. But really, I didn't want to freak her out. As the card game went on, the feeling of someone leaning on me over my shoulders got more intense. As soon as the card game was over, I was out of there. A couple of weeks later, my friend asked me to come over and hang out with her. I quickly asked her if she wanted to bring the boys over and hang out at our house. The boys had to get up early to go with their fathers, so she couldn't come over. She begged me to come over. I finally broke down and told her that I don't like her house. That's like kind of sad. I don't want to go to your house. I don't like it. I didn't have to say why because she instantly say, I don't either. We talk about what we thought was going on in her house, and we both conclude that it was haunted and not by a friendly spirit from the feeling we both had. She moved out about a month later. Writing these stories and bringing back those memories still make my hair stand on end, and I do my best not to drive by that house. Well, it's empty now. What do you think?
It's empty now?
Yeah, it says it's been abandoned for like 8 years.
Oh,
At least
wow.
when she wrote that post, I don't know.
So the ghost got what he wanted.
Yeah, leave me alone. Or maybe she
Why do
just
they want to be left alone?
Maybe he just wanted to group the little ladies. Well, we only know it was female, so who knows if they did the same to males too.
Yeah, but it's always assumed that, like in movies at least, I haven't seen ghosts or dealt with them, but it's always assumed that they want to be alone. Like they're attacking get out of my house or whatever.
Leave my space alone. I think there's friendly ghosts and ghosts like this, they want to be left alone. But who knows? Yeah.
I haven't dealt with one personally, so I can't comment.
I mean, I have some spooky stories when I was growing up, but I couldn't say like, oh my God, I have one ghost that was like
No.
following me or something, thankfully. And I hope I never had. So that's it for today, guys. I hope you enjoy it, and I hope you keep watching and listening to us. If you have any of stories of anything that happens to you, let us know at Ivonneplusone@gmail.com. And I thought it would be a cool idea for anybody who loves drawing and stuff like that. If you like drawing the creatures that we describe, the cryptids and all that, like your interpretation of how they look, it would be cool to see them and share them with people around. So if you love to do that, just send it to us.
And we'll show them.
We'll show. If you like our show, keep watching, subscribe, and let us know. What do you think? Anything you want to say?
Yeah, just join us on the next episode.
I think we're going to be travel to another A state because I have a couple more. I'm excited. I really enjoy doing this, so I hope you enjoy it too. And sorry for my Spanglish crazy accent lady pronouncing weird stuff. I hope you enjoy it. See you next time.
Bye.
Bye.